in there. We're in there for another autistic ass Sonic the Hedgehog discussion. I have my friends Dio, Base God Dio, and Sync the Hero ? They do things. Go follow them.
You don't have to add the question mark.
I'm gonna.
Dude?
I'm gonna. It's
No.
necessary. But yeah, but I'll leave links to their shit. Go get them a follow. Cool guys do cool things. But tonight, holy shit, tonight, the other elephant on the other side of the room is this fandom and its media literacy or lack thereof. So before we even get started with that shit, I just want to break down what media literacy is. And that is not just consuming, the media, whether that be a video game, a comic, a movie, a TV show, but understanding what is trying to be conveyed in that piece of medium. So you could sit there and play a game, but if you miss the fucking message, then did you really play the game? It's like when people claim to be against racism and against segregation after watching or reading an X-Men comic or watching a movie, and then go right back out into the real world and be like, yeah, I don't go on that side of town. That's where all the bad people live. And
that's like the number one fans of my friend Martin.
Bruh.
Our friend Martin.
Bruh. Brother. My God. And this fandom, like I'm pretty sure every other fandom does, but like I see it more prevalently in this one, has a big issue of not understanding that this character is not a flat character. So he's not going to be exactly the same in every piece of medium, especially over the course of 30 years. There's not a single character in literature or fiction that has been the same exact fucking character for the entire run of that fiction, whether that be through their own decisions or just, what the story requires. But that is the hot topic today. I think do you guys disagree with the description for media literacy that I gave?
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even Mario has changed.
Yeah.
It's not the same plumber he was 30 plus
Pretty
years
much.
ago.
Yeah.
It's just when you said that, I was thinking of Peach right away, because I remember there was a whole little discourse with people complaining about what Peach was supposed to look like.
And
oh yeah, her being a damsel in distress or not.
She's supposed to be a damsel in distress.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
But
how dare she be independent?
Like that was kind of like,
and then like
the first thing that I kind of wanted to go over is like, again, I said it in the intro, but like Sonic is a dynamic character, right? So with that, he changes and is able to change and fit the narrative of whatever the story is, while also maintaining his core beliefs or his core actions. So he doesn't like oppression. Obviously, he's the hero, but he's also, I don't want to call him aloof, because that just means he's unaware of things, but he's definitely
carefree.
I was gonna say carefree is probably the better word, because like when he's not fighting Eggman or like trying to save the world, man's is usually just chilling or doing dumb shit. That's just what he does. And then he gets involved when he has to. And another core facet is, his love and appreciation for his friends. Those are always there across everything. And what I believe is act first, think second, because he's always diving headlong into the bullshit no matter what it is. It's like, oh shit, the Earth's broken up, gotta save that. Oh man, I'm turning into a werehog, I'm gonna still save the world. Figure that shit out later. Hopefully it's not permanent. And like people tend to have this idea that Sonic, and I don't even think I really haven't seen too much discourse around the other characters. Like, it's literally just with Sonic that he can't change, or he's only supposed to do or say certain things. And I see it more surrounding the games than any other media. The games and the TV shows. Like, for some reason with the comics, most people are fine with him acting whatever way the current writer wants him to act, or doing whatever the current story calls for him to do. It's really just like a lot the games and the TV shows that kind of started this whole, oh, this is out of character, Sonic wouldn't do this, but we just saw him doing this for 3 seasons, or we played a 30-hour game where he was doing and saying those things that you said he wouldn't do. So, you know, you're wrong. Shut up.
I think there's a lot of cross between what version we're gonna have to define this by like what version of Sonic people most prefer, 1, and then 2, what media it is, because there is a difference between like the comics and the games, since like a lot of the more recent, or well, you know, even Ian Flynn, Evan Stanley, and some of the other writers were on Archie. Like, they're not just with IDW. So there's already that stigma or repertoire, depending on who you ask,
you know,
for how they feel about it, because everybody, you know, wanted Ian Flynn to write for the games, and now that he has, everybody has a problem with it. But, you know, games and comics are very different. So of course, you know, maybe he won't get it right the first time. Maybe Sonic's written a certain way because he's trying to replicate that feeling that you have in that other medium. And people are very quick to judge based off of one thing, not even several products, but one, to the point where now they're like, bring us back to Pontiac and Graph. No, hello? First off, no.
Are you guys on drugs?
Right.
Just to interject in the ideal, and just to speak in terms of like the early renditions of Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm pretty sure we speak for ourselves that none of us want the let's do it to it Sonic just to carry on for 30 plus years, because they'll, in my opinion, it'll come off as cringe. And to continue on with what Musa said, it's like when Ian Flynn basically had like the reins to write the best way, excuse me, brain's fucking up, and had full reins to write Sonic into like what's preferable for most people. It is almost like they're not really giving him a chance after like one game, Sonic Frontiers. And like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a good chunk of people kind of, it kind of comes to like the people who generally want Sonic like back in the 2006 Unleashed era, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
they definitely want that same feeling, which I agree. I want that feeling too, but that doesn't mean what's being written is wrong. Like, we gotta understand. Right. People gotta understand. Like, this is not time. They're making it so time has passed. So you have to act like time has passed, or you have to remind yourself that time has passed. He's not the same 15-year-old character. He's insert age, whatever Sega decides in the future. You know.
Right, and it just makes sense considering the fact that people who read the comics or comic books in general anyway should be used to like how a character would mature. I don't know why Sonic is the main exception for that, or it could just, and let's just come out with it. Older seasoned characters who only just see their characters one way.
Yeah, and it that is the fault. I feel like there's two parts where that is both the fault of the audience member who feels that way and Sega, because Sega's been so inconsistent. because in just, I know you guys don't really, touch on the comics a lot. You may tap in every once in a while, but Fang the Hunter, that comic just came out, and people are like, yes, Sonic is back. This is the Sonic I missed, because he's cocky, he's annoyed with Tails, he's acting like what people expect Sonic to be, which is good. Obviously you want people to enjoy it, but that Sonic in the past is very, they've made it apparent, they've made it very clear that Sonic has aged. He's not the same character. So some of those things that we do want have been toned down.
Right. And
yeah.
And a lot of it, like the things from, the attitude Sonic, you're right, they have been toned down. They're still present in some ways, like with Amy in Frontiers, when she was like, yeah, we gotta help him, and he was like, bro, there is shit going down. We don't have time to like stop and help every single creature, because he knows that's what she would do. And if you understand the scene and the tone of the game, you would realize he's not being a dick to her. He's like, bro, if we stop and help everybody, you niggas could be like lost forever, and I would never get us out of here. It's not like, oh my fucking God, why are you trying to help them? Jesus Christ. Like, it's not, that's not what the scene's trying to convey. There's a sense of urgency there. And I get, media is up for interpretation, but I'm of the belief that there's a limit to that, because you can't just like look at something and somehow land on the complete opposite end of what it's trying to convey without intentionally misrepresenting it so it better fits your narrative, if that makes sense. Like, because there are people out here just straight up saying that, like, we're trying to divide the Sonics again. Like, there are people saying like that classic Sonic is the real Sonic and the new one is, either odd or a mischaracterization of what the character's supposed to be. And I'm like, my nigga, we have official confirmation that these are the same fucking characters, just one of them is older. Like, you're not gonna be the same person that you were 10 years ago. There are situations that you handle differently now as an adult that you would have handled completely differently when you were 15. Or there was shit that would set you off when you were 20 that don't really get under your skin now that you're 30. It's a natural succession of things. And I think that's just really good development in media, is like showing, you're still you, but you react and handle things differently. And that's what's supposed to happen with a character, in my opinion. And then, of course, there's always the story elements, because like when in Scrapnik Island, when Sonic Sonic hurt his leg and he had to have that metallic boot on, he was way more he was almost afraid, because so much, his abilities were basically clipped from under him. And it's like, I can't save my friends if I can't, do what I do. And it's like, so he's still himself, but different reactions for different scenarios, man. Like, you can't expect the character to have the perfect reaction every time. If you did, you wouldn't have any media. Like, that's boring. It's like, well, damn, nigga, where's the struggle?
People were upset that he felt fear. I remember, like, they were like, why Sonic wouldn't be scared? He would just deal with it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe, but he's clearly afraid. Because he's in a situation that before. Yeah. Like, this is a new situation. He's never been hurt where he could not run. Yep. And that's through every game, almost every comic. His leg has never been hurt like that to where he could not run.
Mm-hmm.
You want to count Sonic Labyrinth in that situation, or we're just gonna like?
No, that's not a real game.
No, because he could walk. He could walk.
Yeah, like
spin dash. You're right.
Spin dash. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell
you
why.
Still function. He just wasn't fast.
I'm gonna tell you why Sonic Labyrinth isn't real, because Eggman somehow found out where this nigga lived, and instead of putting one in his brain, stole his shoes and replaced them with slow shoes. You found your arch nemesis, and instead of deleting him, you prank him. What are we doing?
Then trap him in whatever death tower, which death tower shit.
Can we be serious for like 20 seconds? like even as a kid, I'm like, okay, I guess that's fun.
You know what? To add onto that was like early 90s, so Sonic did kind of have that, and this has to go with more of like, say, like the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, mainly that cartoon, because I know like Sonic AM was like a little bit more serious. To a degree, it kind of had that little that slapstick humor, that Acme, haha, gotta put an anvil in your head type of mentality. So in that sense, it could work. But yeah, like you said, like, you know, if you knew where someone lived and you didn't put them out to pasture, then that just seems like a waste of a trip.
Yeah, 100%. The other thing that I wanted to talk about as far as like the media literacy is concerned is like the fact that we've had so much different representation, and people, at least on the surface, have understood that, you know, the characters are malleable. Like I want to touch on the animation a bit, because we had the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which was, you know, more in the lines of like Hanna-Barbera cartoons, like just goofy shit, just him doing goofy shit with his friends. You get a little lesson at the end, and that was cool. Then we had Sat AM, which was a more serious, thing, because Eggman basically had control of their island, and they were rebels against him. So in serious situations when Sonic would try to be like snarky or make a joke, there was always somebody there to like, hey, yo, nigga, chill out, man. Take this serious. And, you know, moving forward from that, you had Underground, even though that was only like one season. But, you know, he was, I'm a literal rock star, and he acted as such. But the goal was still keeping his siblings safe and finding his mom, being the hero. And then you jump to Sonic X, and it's shonen protagonist Sonic. Like, I think everybody understands what the fuck that is at this point. Was there anything after X as far as animation until Boom? I don't think there was.
I mean, in between X and the rest of them, we can. I feel like we can count the OVA.
Well, the OVA.
I feel like
that would be. I feel like it'll be on its own, because I don't know if that had like.
I mean, it's not a show, but I'm saying as far as animation goes, I feel like we can count it just because it does still show that shonen style Sonic.
Right.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
And then, you know, you move on to Boom, and he's like the sarcastic dickhead, but he still cares deeply about his friends. And, you know, when shit's serious, it's serious. And when it's goofy, it's goofy. And that's
it's very sitcom-y.
Yeah. And that's just who he was in those iterations. And people understand this because all the time I hear Roger is a great Boom Sonic, or Boom Sonic was like the perfect characterization for what they were going for. So like, I know that y'all understand that in all of these different, you know, settings and shows, they're going for something with his characterization. Same thing with the games. Same thing with the comics. You know, the core facets are all there, and, you know, they either add or amp up things depending on what the media is, or they tweak things depending on what the media is. And people understand that. But then we still have the conversation of, this is so out of character. Why would they do this? I want my Sonic flat. And then, you know, a week later, it'd be like, wow, Sonic's such a stale character. He always acts the same way to every situation, or he never takes anything seriously, or this is too serious to be Sonic. And it's basically the conversation we had was it last year? It was either last year or 2 years ago around what the fuck do y'all want? Because if he's static, then it's unlike the character because he's supposed to be, you know, I am the wind, TM, ever changing. And if he's too dynamic, you get the, well, he wouldn't do this because this is what he did the other time, or this is what he should have done because he didn't do it this time. And it's like, where do we land? What is the Sonic? Like, explain that to me, please, people of the internet and in the comment section. Explain to me what the quintessential, objective, factual, undeniable, irrefutable Sonic is that everyone throughout all the known universe and time agrees upon is accurate to the character. I want to know.
You want to know, adding on to that, I was thinking, like, I was actually thinking with since Roger had like the longer time frame to be Sonic, you would, and this is just me, I do think his characteristics in like when he started to like say Frontiers, they're not necessarily the same, but he had like the same mannerisms all around, except when shit got serious in Frontiers.
Yeah, and I mean that could be the general tone they were going for those eras, and that's why Frontiers was such a hard reset.
And even for 1 second, even for Boom, I do feel like, since most people would say that Sonic was on downhill since, you know, 06 and around that Boom, it did give Sega that foundation, you know, to make something out of it, you know, be meta, make a joke out of it, and long enough for them to finally get comfortable again to be on their shit. And even then, it's like you have some naysayers that just, I hate to say it, don't want Sonic to be good. They just want it, they find some way to like to remember Sonic 06, and if it doesn't match Sonic 06, that's not my Sonic that I remember.
Like, it's the same situation as the games, man. People want that high that they got with their first Sonic experience, and if it doesn't deliver, then it's bad. Like, that's really what it fucking boils down to. Cause like I always tell people, like, I am a fan of conversation. I like discourse, but it has to make sense. Like, you literally cannot look at all these different games, all these different versions of this character, all the different forms of characterizations, and pinpoint one thing that Sonic should always be that he hasn't always been. Like, you can't do it. Cause like, again, and I've said it like dozens of times in this video, his core personality is always intact across all mediums. It always is. It's the world around him that causes any of those things to shift. And that's what a dynamic character is. And this, I'm not even talking about like what's canon and what's not and where shit falls on the timeline. I'm just talking about across writers, across comics, across games. The core personality is always intact. And then, you know, if we need him to be a little bit more somber, we will write a situation where he has to be somber. If we want him to be more snarky, we will write a situation where he's more snarky. We basically got 4 Sonics in Frontiers. It was like there were the conversations that he would have with himself, which is, you know, what we're used to from the medium, where it's just like, all right, cool, I got to do all this, I got to do this, I got to save people, with the humor intact. Then when he's talking to Amy, it's more or less trying to get her to understand the situation that they're in and also be encouraging. And then when the conversation with Knuckles, like, their rivalry's still there, but both of them understand that they have a job to do. And then with Tails, you know, he's basically being the big brother that he's always been to Tails. It's like, hey man, you know, take some time, figure some shit out. Like, most of those cutscenes with Tails were serious. And that would, to me, that's good writing. That you can have one character be 4 different people and never feel like he's not himself. Like that is just, that's good. That's good shit to me. And hopefully we get more of it. But
I just want to mention on.
What's up?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll let you finish my bet.
Yeah, you're good, man. But I was like, and I don't expect every single story going forward to have him be, you know, that dynamic. Like if you want to write him a certain way for a couple of issues, that's cool. Or if he has a static personality in the next game, that's cool. But even then he's going between dynamic and static, and that is a dynamic character in itself. So like there's I don't think that there is a one way that he should always be. That's boring. That's boring to me, especially for the type of character that he is. That's my yap fest. Musa, you can go ahead.
You mentioned you weren't talking about like what's canon and what's not, and I think that also plays a somewhat important conversation to the entire thing too, because I'll use Prime. I'll say Prime right now just because that's the most recent thing. People have been complaining about his characterization in Prime, which because they've said it's canon, which makes sense because at the time we didn't know where it took place. So if this is supposed to be post Frontiers Sonic, why would he act like this? This doesn't make any sense.
Because I think they said that shit. Didn't they say that shit took place like after the Advance games?
Yeah, after Advance.
3,
after Advance 3, before
06
Frontiers or 06, whatever it was. Okay. After Advance is the point,
right?
So sometime after Advance and before Frontiers. So it's like, okay, well, all right, I see that trying to clean up canon is in some places making things worse, but I can't blame them for attempting to appease people, you know. Now, did Prime need to be canon? That's a completely different question. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all.
Another day.
So yeah, exactly. It's a conversation for another day.
Short answer,
but as far
no.
Short answer, no. Short but long answer, what was going on? Who wrote this? But it's mostly a joke, but like it's fine for what it is. But
I mean, Devin still did good at Sonic.
Oh nah, he was a very good Sonic voice actor.
Yeah.
He just got he's just put in a bad spot.
Yeah.
That would be a time where Prime being where it is would be a time where I would say I understand where people are saying he's out of character, because Prime, while not completely out of character, does do some out of character things if this is supposed to be post Advance 3 Sonic.
Yeah.
So I think it works both ways, where there's this back and forth on how much leeway do you give because of what was written and what should people actually expect out of any given product. Yeah. And multiple people are asking for multiple things. You want Sega to listen to their fans. You're going to have this back and forth until everybody reaches this kind of equilibrium in this groove. Like, so many hands pass through Sonic. So many people like Sonic. Not everybody can be satisfied. So you have to learn that some products are not going to be what you want them to be.
Right. And that doesn't necessarily make it bad, but you just have to take it how you take it.
Yeah.
Like, before I give any opinion on where I think Sonic should go, I'm waiting for the next mainline game to really solidify where he is. Because if I say right now I feel like Sonic could be more cocky. He could be more impatient. But the character has progressed past that. Now he's an actual hero. He calls himself a hero. Whereas before he was like, I'm just a guy who loves adventure. Do I want him to go back to that? Yes. Is that where he is now? No. Does that make it wrong? No. So people have to let go of this idea of not wanting change, but then also wanting change.
No.
Oh, okay.
That makes too much sense.
I want Black Knight. I want Black Knight back. Okay. I want Black Knight Sonic.
Oh shit. But
I want the 2 era back for shits and giggles, but we all can get what we want.
You're right. I mean, like they kind of do it, like with the Tyson Hess animations, like they or the like with fucking what Musa said, the Fang miniseries, like, you know, that's that Sonic, you know, like if we want to break it up, I don't want to break it up by era because, you know, they aren't 2 characters anymore, but like that's just what the old Sonic was. That's what the classic Sonic was. And
not just classic Sonic, that's
up until like
Shadow
06.
Yeah, exactly.
Up until like 06. That's really what he was. But
and we could technically call like Shadow the Hedgehog out of character because he doesn't take anything seriously.
Brother, I already did that video.
Bro's like, oh,
he is the.
No, I'm just saying.
Vegeta of the series at this point.
Yeah, go back.
I'm not talking about Shadow himself. I'm talking about Sonic in the Shadow game.
Oh, in the Shadow game. Oh yeah. Yeah, that nigga that nigga was ODing, bro. Like somebody gave the ADD kid a Red Bull. That's what Sonic was in Shadow the Hedgehog. It's like, yeah,
I could kill some black creatures. Like, whoa.
Yeah, let's go to space. Yeah. Woo! But
it's those situations are hilarious, but they are kind of out of character.
Yeah, they're fucking nutty, man. That whole game is out of character.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
you can sound different when you have a gun. So
of course.
Right.
Like, to round it off, because I think I've said pretty much everything that I had to say about, you know, the community and its feelings. Do you think we're headed in the right direction, like, for the franchise? Not even just talking about like the characters, or like, do you think that Sega has a better grasp, starting with Frontiers? Do you think they have a better grasp on what they should be doing versus what the fans claim they want than they did like in the past eras?
For me, I want to say yes, because they actually have, you know, a seasoned writer such as Ian Flynn. And if I remember correctly, didn't they wanted to hire somebody to correct the lore?
They have a team for the lore.
Okay, cool. So in a way, they are working on course correction. It's just really just up to the consumers to actually give them a chance, outside of just immediately thinking back of, no, he needs to be like Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed, or like you said, whatever Sonic that you grew up with. Each character is not going to be the same, so people can mature. I know, wild concept.
Musa, what about you, man?
No, I basically agree. I think we really got to give them a chance to show. We have to let them show us what they've been cooking and what they've learned from being in the franchise, watching the franchise, and listening to people and not listening to people, because, you know, you got to still make what you want to make.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think all of that stuff is going to come together within the next year or so. We just got to actually give them the chance to make it, instead of being so ready to say this isn't what we asked for.
Right. And I agree. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic, because like we said in the last video, like, I've seen every single era of Sonic start off incredibly strong and then taper off, but now we're at the point where Sega is listening to Sonic Team. Well, Sonic Team, I gotta give him the credit first. Sonic Team is making the shit that they want to make, and then, you know, letting people feel how they want to feel about it, which is, you know, it's what you're supposed to fucking do. We liked your games. We liked what you did, we liked what you did because it was good, not because you did what we said you should do. And they're they're getting back to that, which is great because, you know, all the base game of Frontiers was the game that Sonic Team wanted to make, and the updates were direct requests to direct responses to our feedback. So in all honesty, if that's how it's gotta go for the foreseeable future, I'm all for that, because I thought Frontiers was a good game out the gate, and then the updates only made the shit better to me. So I'm cool with that approach. Or, you know, once they do, like you said, give them like a year or two to confirm, and then once they do have a grasp on what they want to do as a team or as a company, then we go full send. And that I believe like that we're in for a peak era, in all honesty. Like if Frontiers, Murder Sonic the Hedgehog, Dream Team, like if all of those are any indication, like it's peak time. It is pure peak.
Not really related to Sonic, but I will say Harada only had one Tekken 4, and it became peak ever since. Yep. So I'm pretty sure the same thing could happen to Sonic.
Yeah. It's like, just, dear Sega, please make the games you want. Like, the fans are gonna do what fans do, man. They're gonna see something and they're gonna receive it the way they receive it, and then just critique it to fit whatever narrative they believe in or the narrative of the week that they want to push. But people with media literacy will continue to, you know, understand and appreciate and hopefully educate like this video will the people that don't really have it. Because I will never tell anybody you should like this thing or you should dislike this thing, but I will tell you should at least attempt to understand this thing, and then from that point decide if you like this thing or dislike this thing. That is the ultimate goal with any of these discussions. It's like, understand, then form an opinion. Because a lot of you niggas form opinions and then try to understand. It don't work that way.
But I agree with everything that you just said. The only exception is Lost World is a bad game.
All right.
Everybody should think that.
No.
Yes.
No.
Everybody should think that.
You're wrong.
I'll find out when I stream it this year.
I will let you have your Lost World point if everybody admits that Heroes is mid. Everybody.
Everybody here right now?
No. Everybody. Everybody on the on the Twitter.com.
Oh, on the Twitter.com. Okay.
I mean, the game is good up until you got to play it again 3 other times.
The game,
7 intervals.
Bro, after you play it
through, the game is fine.
Yeah. After that, it's, what are we doing? What are we doing?
While I'm here.
Making
like
play a game
at
4
Sonic
times
Symphony
is never a
at
good
Sonic
idea.
Symphony when they played Metal Overlord, it's like, damn, it makes me feel like I want to play Sonic Heroes, and then I remember what I have to do to get to this part.
Yep. And I'm not doing that shit again. I sung the songs. Nigga, I sung the Heroes songs. That game mid as fuck. But
I felt that shit from my heart. Got tinnitus over it.
Yeah.
With the white girl behind me screaming.
She all right. Whoever the fuck was next to me thought they were gonna out-sing me. Showed her, fucking nerd.
She had it on all of me though.
Oh wow, nah.